Hello, welcome to Accounting 201, Principles of Financial Accounting. This is for the online section. I'm just going to do a quick review of the syllabus. Obviously, you can read it in detail on your own. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Cheryl Weston. I'm the instructor for this course for this semester. And you can get a hold of me at my email address, ca-weston, Westen at wiu.edu. My career in accounting, I started out with an undergraduate degree in accounting. I have an MBA, and then I went on to get my CPA certification. And since that time, which has been a while ago, I have worked in public accounting as an auditor. I've also done some tax work, but that was years ago. So don't ask me a lot of tax questions. Thank you very much. And I have worked in banking, I've worked in government, and I've had businesses of my own. I have been teaching at Western for several years now. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. Hopefully, I'll get to know all of you sometime soon. My office is located in Stipes Hall. My office hours are listed on the syllabus: Tuesday, Thursday, Monday afternoon as well. You can get a hold of me by appointment, and you can just set that up with me through email. So for those of you that are online and not on campus, we can connect via Zoom. I will do my best to remember to turn on that Zoom link when I'm in my office hours. I can also use the Zoom link, that same Zoom link, if we set up an online appointment. If you do happen to be on campus, feel free to stop into my office, which is Stipes 420. So financial accounting online, this is a 16-week course. You can take a look at the student outcomes. A couple of things: if you're an accounting major, you do need a C to go on to the next accounting course, which would be Accounting 202. So keep that in mind. Our textbook, we're going to be using Connect, and the textbook that we're using in Connect is the Financial Accounting Spiceland textbook. So when you're purchasing that, you can do it a couple of ways. You can purchase it through the bookstore. If you do it that way, you can put it on your WIU account, and that gets billed to you through billing and receivables through WIU. You could also buy it direct from McGraw-Hill. When you get registered in Connect, it will offer you the opportunity to purchase it at that time. You can either do that, or you can put in your own code that you've already purchased, or you can sign up for the free trial and then purchase it later. So if you sign up for the free trial, that gives you, I think, a couple of weeks, and it'll keep prompting you to either enter in a code or to purchase the code. So that code gives you access to all the assignments, homework assignments, all of your exams. We will be using Proctorio for our exams, which is their lockdown monitor and browser. So you will need a webcam for exams. That does come at an additional cost. So your materials are going to be a little bit more expensive than my in-person classes. When you purchase that code, it should include it if you're getting it from the WIU bookstore, or if you're buying it direct from McGraw-Hill when you get signed into the course. Oops, I haven't updated that. So if you have questions about materials, just reach out to me, but I think it'll be pretty self-explanatory once you start the process. So communication plan, basically, we don't meet in person, so your assignments that you have in Connect are going to get you through the material. So what are those resources? I'll talk about those in a second. I guess I have more technology information. So way to get a hold of me is through my WIU email. I also have, the Zoom link for office hours. The YouTube, I've got some videos out there that you can use as additional resources, YouTube videos that I have from class sessions or PowerPoint videos, etc. My email, I've already said what that is, so ca-weston@wiu.edu. Please include that you're in my 201 online section in the subject if you can. That makes my life a whole lot easier. Western Online, all the Connect access will be accessed through Western Online. You'll see all of your assignments listed by the due dates in Western Online, so you can click on it right there to go into them. I highly recommend setting up notifications. There's instructions on how to do it, so you can get announcements and any assignment due dates and assignments emailed to you. Also, if you sign up for the um, Pulse app, you can have it texted to you as well. I recommend both. It's nice to have the email because then you can go back and refer to it. So sometimes I might have to take announcements down after a certain amount of time. And if you need to go back and reference it for any reason, it's good to be getting the email notifications. And then a lot of people like to have the text come through when there are assignment due dates. So basically everything is going to be through Connect. And we'll talk about that in another video. Technology, we are using Western Online. If you have any issues with Western Online or have some problems, here they do have a virtual assistant now that you can access. So there's some resources that you can click on there. If you have problems logging into your WIU ecom account, that's a UTech question. So there's the email address. You can call them. If you're on campus, they're actually in Stipes 126. You can go in and get help there. But as far as any problems or getting around and Connect, I do highly recommend click on that troubleshoot link. That's going to make sure that your computer has everything it needs to be successful to run Connect. And then if you're in Connect and have issues, they have a customer support that has really great hours. You can call them while you're on your computer and having an issue, and generally they can fix it right then. I do have some videos about how to get registered in Connect, but we'll talk about that towards the end, but that link is there if you need to access that. So let's talk about the course and what's going to be expected. And I'm just looking at this and I don't know that I've updated that, so I might have some updates to it. So 16 weeks for the course, you're going to have about a chapter of material a week almost. Here's some resources that are available to you. With your Connect access, you have access to an electronic textbook. So be sure you're checking that out. You can also access that textbook when you're doing some of the assignments. PowerPoint slides, there is a folder in Connect that has all the PowerPoint slides. So if you want to print those off when you start going through assignments, and so you can make your notes as you're going through problems, I think that's a great idea. So that's out there and available to you. Practice sets of homework. So in addition to your homework for points, there's some practice sets. There's also some additional videos that you can access in Connect that kind of wraps everything up. There is a tutor lab. So let's see. Oh, good. I did update this. For those of you on campus, the tutor lab is in Stipes 306. I'll put an announcement out on Western Online with what their hours are. And if you are a true online student, you can get virtual tutoring with the tutors who are in Stipes 306 using Google Chats. So you would go to your Google email. Over on the left-hand side, you should be able to see Google Chat, and then you would just type in the accounting tutor at wiu.edu, and you would be able to connect with them that way. There'll be more instructions when I post the announcement on Western Online. You're also able to get a hold of me during office hours or set up an appointment if you want to meet at a different time. Assignments that go towards your grade. Let me just flip to the grade, our grading scale here. So here's what's going to make up your grade. We're going to have 2 exams. We're going to have 2 mini tests. We're going to have some Excel simulation assignments. For every single chapter each week, you're going to have 3 assignments for each chapter. This concept overview video assignment, which is worth 5 points, a smart book assignment that's worth 10, a homework assignment that's worth 20. And then you're going to have a few points with the getting started videos and little tutorials that are out there in Connect. I put 5 points because that just made it round out to a nice 1,000 points overall, but it is worth more points than that. So whatever you get above 5 is extra credit. Yay. There's also a comprehensive accounting cycle problem, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Grading scale, pretty similar, I think, with most instructors at WIU. We do have a plus minus system. For whatever reason, SGA at the time that they implemented this did not implement A plus, but they do have pluses for the other grades. So if you flip through the syllabus, it's got more details about the assignments, concept overview videos. There'll be a tutorial on that. There's one for each chapter, 5 points for that assignment. You watch a video, answer some questions. You can have multiple attempts to do it. You just need to complete it by the due date and time. Smart book assignments, there's a tutorial on that in the Getting Started folder as well. There'll be one smart book for every chapter. It's worth 10 points. And it has mainly multiple choice, fill in the blank type of questions. It keeps asking the questions until you answer correctly. So you're not dinged or you don't have points taken away if you answer incorrectly. You're just not going to progress unless you start answering it correctly, which you can do that by reading the book, reviewing notes, lots of things. So there are those assignments. Homework assignments, that's the end of chapter problems. There's also a tutorial on that in the Getting Started folder. There were 20 points. There's one for each chapter. These are going to take a little bit longer, and I'll let you watch the video about those assignments. But they are also where you can make multiple attempts as long as it gets completed by the due date. Everything is something that you can come in and out of, save your work when you leave. The smart book saves automatically. The homework, you have to hit save and exit. There's a lot of resources that you can use, your textbook, you can use your notes. There are some videos that might help with that as well. There's a hint link in the homework on most of the exercises that takes you to a guided example that walks you through a similar exercise. So lots of resources there. I'm available during office hours. The tutor lab is open, so utilize your resources. Okay, some of the other assignments, these assignments, all 3 of these, the Excel simulation, the mini tests, and the exams, those are there's only 2 of those during the semester. So 2 Excel sims, 2 mini tests, 2 exams. The downfall of only having 2 with the exams, you're getting half of a semester's worth of material on that one exam. So it is pretty intense. And it's 2 hours long. Not that you need to take that long, but it might take that long. So before every exam, there's going to be an Excel simulation assignment. Basically, it's some end of chapter type of problems and questions that you have to do in Excel. So we'll get into more detail on that as we come to those. There were 30 points each. There'll be one due before each exam. The mini test, oh, sorry, Excel sim, you can make multiple attempts, but who would want to do that? We'll try to get you getting all points right away. Mini tests, they are a quiz basically that you're going to take before each exam. The quiz, you can use your book, you can use your notes. It should always be your own work, just like with all of your assignments. And they are not timed. They're 100 points each. On these, you only have one attempt, so you can't make multiple attempts. The answers will not post until after the due date and time, and then that's a good resource to use as a study tool for your exam. So that Excel Sim mini tests are going to be due the week before your exam, and then you've got the following week to get that exam completed and finish up your studying. So for the exam, we will be using, oh, I don't think I've updated this. I will get that updated. Well, maybe I do. It is worth 150 points each one. You're going to have a midterm and a final. 2 hours long, only one attempt, no outside resources except your note card. I will be using Proctorio with a lockdown webcam and browser. So it locks your computer down, it records you. You have to do a video of your surroundings. So it is the full version of Proctorio. So I do want that to be your own work. As with all assignments, it should be you. No check my work, no being able to access the textbook. So anything that you need outside of what's in your own head should be written on that note card. So you can have the note card with you. I do allow you to use scratch paper and a calculator. Okay, other things that make up your grade, we'll go over these in more detail as the due dates come up for those. I do have a comprehensive accounting cycle problem. It's worth I think I need to change that. I think it's worth 50 points. Yep, it's worth 50. So it's worth 50 points, 5% of your grade. It's going over chapters 1 through 6, maybe a little bit more. And you're going to do that and connect on your own. You can do multiple attempts to get it done. But again, you won't need it. Trust me, you don't want to do it multiple times because it does take a while to finish it. Getting started, there's a whole bunch of tutorials that go over the syllabus and all the functions of Connect and getting registered. You'll get some points for that, including extra credit points. Other opportunities for extra credit, what I call career builder assignments. When we have professionals on campus, a lot of times those meetings, presentations will have a Zoom link that you could connect to if you're not on campus. If you attend, well, you can attend up to 2 of those for extra credit points. So you would go to the presentation, make sure that you're logged in, have your camera on, and then you have to submit a summary of the presentation within a week of attending. So you can do up to 2 of those for extra credit. And again, here's a grading scale. Changes, obviously I've got some changes to even incorporate since this video. Attendance policy, this is an online class, so there's really not, there's no requirement to come and see me in person. If for some reason you miss a due date on assignment or have an excused absence, you'd let me know. Here's the avenue to do that and what's considered an excused absence. I can be fairly flexible with extensions as long as you keep me in the know and don't abuse it. So I know that life happens. Keep me in the loop. I don't want you falling behind or missing something. I would rather have you do the work and get it done, even if that's a day or 2 later. WIU policies, you can click on those links. I'm not going to go over all those. Just heads up, WIU College of Business Technology, we are accredited AACSB, so you are getting a fine business and accounting education. We are accredited for both. Anyway, what are you going to be doing this fall? So this first week, hey, you're watching this video, woohoo, review the syllabus. So be sure to read through it. Obviously, you're watching the video. Next thing you're going to do is get registered in Connect. There's a McGraw-Hill video on how to do that. I also have a short video on the features of Connect that you're going to be using. So for the Smart Book, the homework, this was a video that I did for my classroom sections of my principal's courses. So keep in mind that it doesn't have that concept overview assignment video, and what I'm showing you is that classroom course, but similar types of assignments. Let's see, what else do we have? So once you've completed those videos, I want you to go to that Getting Started folder in Connect, start going through those tutorials. Again, they're worth points. And then I have a quiz about the syllabus. And I've got 15 points assigned to it, so you can get up to 10 points of extra credit. I do want you to finish these no later than Monday, 11:59 p.m. Oh, a heads up, I don't think I said it on this video. I am going to be gone, sorry, this first week of class, actually out of the country, so my access to email is going to be limited by desire to look at that while I'm on vacation and timing differences. So if you have questions, the tutor lab should be open. Hopefully I've answered most of them through the material that you're going to get through this first week. If it's something urgent, email me. Or if it's something you think the tutors can answer, they're graduate assistants in the Master of Accountancy program, so they can answer a lot. They know how things work here. So that would be a good resource. Otherwise, I will touch base with you guys when I am back in the country next week. Okay, so I will be back actually late on the 31st. So I'll be back on September 1st. So then I can get to any burning questions that you might have. So just a quick heads up, I keep saying that, on the structure of the course, you're covering about a chapter a week of material. So to be successful, you need to not save everything till Friday night because that would just be misery. So goal by Monday, print your PowerPoint slides, watch your videos, the concept overview videos. You can even start those assignments. I do have some PowerPoint videos that I have recorded that are out on YouTube. You can take a look at those. You're not required to use those. If they help, great. If they don't, then forget it. So start getting that done on your weekend, have that done by Monday, and then by Wednesday, hopefully you already started on those COV assignments. You can start in on the Smart Book assignments. You can flip-flop back and forth in the Smart Book to the textbook and be reading as you go along, or read everything first and then do the Smart Book. What's going to take you more time are the homework assignments, the end of chapter homework assignments. So hopefully knock out the COV, the Smart Book by Wednesday. Then you've got time to get that homework assignment completed that Wednesday or Thursday. And that way, if you've got questions, you've got time to get answers before the due date on Friday. Please, please, please don't wait till Friday night. In the past, the tutor lab hasn't even been open on Friday, so I highly encourage you to get things done earlier in the week and get help as you need it. So by Friday, 11:59 p.m., all three assignments need to be done: the COV, the Smart Book, and the homework. I didn't make any distinction on the due dates, but for your own sanity, get the COV and the Smart Book done early. Start on the homework no later than Wednesday. That way, hopefully you can finish it up by Thursday and leave Friday if you have any follow-up questions or anything that you want to review, or if you want to make another attempt. So our second week, all of the chapter 1 assignments are going to be due. The third week, chapter 2, and so on. So we're going to cover chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip to chapter 10. Then you're going to have your exam. So after we've completed chapter 10, you've got that next week to do the Excel simulation assignment and the mini test. And that's going to be due that Friday. And then you need to get your first exam completed by the following week. So that's the time frame that we're following. You can take a look at that if you've got any questions. This is just laying out the learning objectives that we're covering from each chapter. Sometimes we don't cover every single one, so there are a few where we don't cover everything. But that is the general outline of the course. I hope this helped. Again, if you've got questions, send me an email. It might be a little bit sporadic responding this first week, as I'll be not as readily available. But then after that, it should be no problem to get a hold of me. And I will also post on Western Online announcements about the Tutor Lab, so you can pop in there through Google Chats if you need to connect with them. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day. Remember to get registered and connect, and then start getting those tutorial assignments done in the Getting Started folder. See you later.